point, and excuse me, they got out of the car to take a picture. They left little kids in the car. The kids, knocked the car, out of gear, and it went over the edge. And it was down like thousands of feet. The car blew up, caught on fire. Children died, obviously, but not long. I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years ago. There was a gentleman who was stopped there at the place to look at the Indian jewelry and some artwork, and he found a piece of jewelry he really, really wanted. But then he thought, well, I'll wait, and go into the Grand Canyon Village, and maybe I'll find something I like better. And of course, he was there all day. He didn't find anything. He thought he'd stop back there again. But that particular artist had already gone home for the day. So one of the ladies told him, well, what you can do, just spend the night here in the parking lot. That guy is usually the first one here in the morning, and you can, buy your piece of jewelry and be on your way. So he thought, okay, that's a good idea. So he parks his pickup truck. He's got this camper shell in the back, and gets settled for the night. He thought he'd start hearing some kids outside, but they thought, nah. He looked out, didn't see anything. He goes, oh, it must have been like a coyote or something. So he lays back down, and a few minutes later he hears like kids laughing and playing again. He thought, I know there was nobody here when I parked, but why are these people letting their kids play outside this parking lot? There's like overlook, they can fall. So he gets out of the truck to look, and he sees these two, little boys standing there. And it was like one of those mirage things, you walk closer to it, and then the kids seem, go farther backwards.
Right.
And you a little bit closer, and then it was like moving backwards. It was just kind of like that. And then he says that they kind of went like over the edge. And so it's like, he says it was like very, very strange. And then the next day, when the guy showed up to sell him the jewelry, he explained to them what had happened. So he knows he saw those little boys' ghosts. They're still there. So I thought that was really eerie, and that place is very eerie. So that was kind of one of my favorite stories that we learned along the way that day.
Well, last year, I think, you had gone to a lookout where an accident had happened. I don't remember if you were investigating or what was going on, but while you were telling someone about an accident, you turned around and there was an accident.
Exactly. That was when we were doing the research on the book. We all of us, there was 4 of us women, and we had just learned all the story, and we thought, well, let's eat our lunch here, before we get into the village. And we just kind of pulled off the the area, the way in the parking lot there, and we heard this big crash. And of course, my one friend is a nurse, and so we jump back in the car, we head to the scene, and and she's is barking orders at us, empty out the ice chest, get the bag, trash bags, and fill it with ice for me. So we took care of all the people there until the paramedics could get there and take care of the rest of them. But yeah, I think it was just so eerie that there was an accident. We were learning about this accident, and then in a matter of minutes, there's this 3-car accident just right there, off the highway that goes into that area. So it's like a cursed area or something.
Or maybe the kids didn't want you to know about the story until then because they knew what was going to happen and needed the nurse there.
Right, exactly. It was kind of eerie, knowing that what had happened there, and now we've got something else going on, and there were young kids in some of these cars too. So it was like just making sure everybody was okay till the paramedics did arrive. So
well, you've also being there, you're exposed to it from several different angles, and by that I mean you have not only our Old West history, you have a lot of Native American not only locations but history there, and and there's a huge Spanish influence there too, isn't there?
Right. Yeah. Kind of all combines together. Right. I don't know. I think it's just a big mix. And then, like I said, a lot of these mining towns like Jerome and Bisbee and Globe, people came there from the East Coast to get rich quick. And a lot of the, people, when they left the East Coast, they just said, hey, I'm going out west. So they lost contact with their families and, and friends probably forever. So there's a lot of, energy there, like lost energy, because no one knew where they were. No one knew who they were, because a lot of them, if they were criminals back east, they came out west to start a new life. And so they changed their names. So trying to do research sometimes on some of these early pioneers in Arizona is really hard, because they changed their names to escape their past from the East Coast.
Well, I think some of the miners would be
mining towns were really rough.
Right.
And there was killings all the time, because everybody, it was a lot of, like they always say, a lot of greed and a lot of money. So a lot of dark energies in some of those towns.
Yeah. Are there a lot of abandoned mining towns, or are most of the mining towns still inhabited by real people?
Well, it depends. I know there's a lot of them that are ghost towns now, like the old Vulture City. The Vulture Mine was a very popular place for paranormal investigators to go and kind of take their teens to kind of learn about ghost hunting and paranormal investigations, because there were still a lot of buildings left, no electricity out there, so everything you're finding, that you weren't like interference with the electrical or anything like that. They have new owners now, so they're kind of limited on going out there, not like we used to be able to. There's another ghost town that I had investigated several years ago called Ruby, and it's way on the border, and so that was kind of like a one-shot thing there. Your towns like Bisbee and Jerome and Globe, they're still thriving towns. They're not mining so much there anymore. Bisbee does a little bit. Globe does a teeny bit. Jerome doesn't do any, I think, at all. But there's a lot of old buildings there, and underneath them is just kind of like catacombs, like Swiss cheese underneath all these towns. And so, I think it's just
mostly silver mines too, though. Correct?
Yeah, silver mine, gold mines.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, because a lot of people associate, going to California. That and Alaska were both gold rushes, but in Arizona there was nickel.
So a lot of silver. There was gold, copper.
Nice.
A lot of the copper mines.
Yeah.
Were part of Arizona.
Yeah.
And where I'm at in Bisbee, it's really kind of neat, because our house is across the street from the cemetery, so I have really quiet neighbors there. But it's really fun to kind of walk through there, and you can kind of see, some of the names you read about, the early miners and things like that, and stories. So I love walking through that cemetery and walking through town, and you can just kind of feel, energy in there. And I've had a lot of friends that grew up there, and they have amazing stories about ghosts in their homes and things like that. So it's a really, really, really cool little town, little artist town. And we have like a weekend home down there, so we go down there like about once a month and kind of hang out.
Yeah.
But Jerome's like that too. Jerome's a place where you can go to this kind of artist town now, and they have the haunted hotels, like the Jerome Grand, and and places you can stay, and they're all these hotels are all haunted.
That's very cool, though. I mean, it's not that there's more history; it's different history.
Well, it's different history. Yeah, it's more, in the last 100 years. I mean, Arizona didn't become a state till 1912. So we're a baby state here.
Well, but the whole thing
settling here till like in the 1860s, 1870s.
Do you think that's one reason why people get so drawn to some of the history out there, is because it's still history you can touch? It's not.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's mythical and written in a book, but you can read about Wyatt Earp and then go touch his grave. You know what I mean? Or
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a lot of it's still there in the older towns. So, like Phoenix is not really good with their historic places. They've torn down a lot, to make it a modern city. So it's really hard to find things within Phoenix that are still old. So you almost have to travel in one direction or the other to get to something historical in Arizona. But then once you get out of the big cities, it's all right there. I mean, a lot of it's just the way it was. Wickenburg's it's still like kind of a dude ranch looking old ranch town, and you go down to Tombstone, and you've got just like you see all, the Wild West, and they have, the OK Corral and all that. So there's a lot of historical places around to visit.
Well, I think it's cool because, like, when I went to visit Mary, it's Civil War, but it's also the Pilgrims.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then you get down toward Tennessee and all that, and it's more Civil War. Down here, it's like the Alamo and stuff like that. Where I'm from, it was the Dred Scott verdict.
Yeah.
Right.
It was more slavery. It's just completely different types. I mean, it could be all the same war, but the areas are so different, and the stories are so different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That is kind of like that in the mining towns as well too. It's all different, but some of the stories are kind of same. There's always, the murders, and fighting over, the mining and ore and things like that. And we didn't have that. We didn't have that much Civil War stuff here. I think there was a couple little battles.
Well, in
Concho Peak, I think they had a mini battle there.
In St. Louis, there wasn't a lot of Civil War type stuff. We have a lot of caverns and stuff that St. Louis is built on, but that was more for bootlegging and stuff.
Yeah, there
Right.
wasn't. It never kind of got that far north and west.
Well,
on the Mississippi anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
in Missouri, we were kind of in the middle, so we'd send a son north, a son south. That way, either way, you really didn't lose.
Yeah.
But it's not like, Gettysburg or, those.
Yeah, I'm really wanting to go to Gettysburg. That's on my bucket list. I have never been there. And, that's one of the things on the bucket list. Got to get there. I think that'd be really awesome.
I've been to the Jenny Wade house. I can say that now.
Yeah. And then I have friends that want to go up to Salem in the Boston area this next fall. We'll have to see, because I am, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to Ireland in May. We'll be there for a whole week, going to all the haunted castles, the haunted pubs, the haunted cemeteries.
Bringing home leprechauns.
We'll have Richard Felix, remember from Most Haunted.
Yep.
The English show that was on a few years ago.
Yep.
Richard Felix was their historian for a few years. He is our official, historian guide that travels on the bus with us the whole week, and he is the sweetest little booger you ever met. He even gets and helps us unload the bus. So he's a lot of fun to be with.
We just had a little Irishman on our.
Last night. Yeah, we had Mr. Barry Fitzgerald was on last night.
Oh yeah, Barry. Yeah, he's. I love to listen to his voice. Oh.
So do I.
I love to listen to Irish.
Yeah, I can't compete with that.
They just have such a unique little flair the way they talk. Yeah.
I don't know. I get a kick out of everybody's accents.
Yeah. When I first moved to Arizona, everybody thought I sounded like Henry Fonda because I was from Nebraska, and that's where Henry Fonda's from. They go, you sound just like Henry Fonda. You talk so slow, but I don't talk slow anymore. And I was like, blah, 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 blah.
Well, with me, when I'm down here, everybody says I sound like a Yankee. When I go home, everybody says I sound like a Southern Belle. So one of my friends actually dubbed me a Bostonian redneck.
Yeah.
That's a combination. That's for sure.
When I say dog, it's dog. But I can also get down south with y'all.
Y'all.
It's my family's
She parks her truck in the yard.
The car in the yard.
Yeah.
And then I gotta wash the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody has their little quirky accents.
Yeah,
I know,
do.
I love it.
Do you, and I wanted to ask you about this, how important it is, if you're part of a group, how important it is it, and if you would give us your opinions, how important is it for somebody to help out in the community that they live in? Because I know you guys do a lot of help, like you said, cleaning up, being part of a preservation society.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that for a minute? Let our viewers know how important it is that if you're on a group, get involved in your community in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. We all really, like like the cemeteries, obviously. And when we do go to a cemetery, that's not exactly, the historic cemetery, one of the first things we always do, we always have trash bags with us, and we kind of, do a walkthrough and pick up, everyone else's trash, whether it be beer bottles, empty, drink cups or whatever. And I always feel like we're showing good intentions to the spirits that are there, so they know we're not there to trash the place, but just to be, to observe and take pictures and record voices. As far as the Pioneer Cemetery goes, if there's nobody to kind of take care of it and save it, it'll be gone. And that's what it was happening with that cemetery. For years and years, it kind of just, went on the wayside.
Right.
And everybody, moved people to the newer cemeteries with the green grass, and it became over, grown with weeds and cacti. So we go in there and we, clean it up. We go in there and we are now doing a lot more tours there than they had in the past. And we, actually have little tours, geared to different walks of life. If people want to learn about the mayors and governors and officials that are buried there, we can take and show those graves. If they want to see the sheriffs and the law enforcement people, we can do that. And like I'm doing the doctor one that's coming up. So we even have like the madam and several prostitutes buried in that cemetery right along with everybody else. So, everybody's equal there. But it is important to, if you are a group, if you have something that you're a cause you're really into, do things for them. And we've come a lot better in Arizona now, where several teams will work together on investigations together now, where before that was completely taboo. You don't want to divulge any of your secrets, of locations. You don't want to, people didn't want to divulge anything that they discovered because they didn't want the next person to go there. And so just this past weekend, there were 3 of us teams in a little Pulper Cemetery in Phoenix, the Maricopa County Cemetery, where the Jane Does go, and we actually went out there and did a little mini investigation. And there were 3 teams together, and everyone got along good. We shared evidence, and I think that's the way it should be.
Well, to me,
we're in it to learn from each other.
To me, it makes no sense to have the secret location, because
yes.
if I got a really good location, I'd be more than happy to bring people with me or say, hey, it's available for, that way they can go in and maybe confirm some of what you've gotten.
Yeah.
Right, or even debunk something that you thought that you really
something you
had,
missed.
and it was really good, and if someone went back, or you overlooked that, this building, we went back behind, and the electrical box was here, and we can see some of the wires were kind of, jiggly on there. Maybe that's why you were getting, weird EMF or something like that. And it's good to know if other people have, everybody does it a little bit different. So if everybody kind of puts everything together, it'll all tie in together.
Well, and
I've had that happen too, where teams have told me this and this and this happened and that happened, and I go in there and I'm more of I try to disprove before I prove,
right.
and then they're mad at me because like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, this happened and that happened, but we walked outside and all the neighbors had generators going, and that could pull some EMF off. So it's, what I'm saying, it's, if everybody kind of just puts their input in the end, you'll get the real story on what's going on.
Right, and I mean, as if you're going in behind someone and you debunk something,
right?
Great, fantastic. Give them the information.
Yeah,
but don't
I've
be
had
mean
things
about
debunked
it.
on me that I thought was real too. So it's like everybody has to just share the evidence, and then it'll come together.
But I mean, you'll have
yeah.
some people go in and go, well, if you'd have paid attention, we don't need all that. Just say, hey, I found this, and show it to them. And
next time you go there, check this again.
Right.
I've done that too. Or maybe when we were there, things weren't happening, but when you were there, you were on the day when the spirits were active. That happens too. We can go to a place and it'll be completely dead, or if another team goes there and everything's active for them all the time, then maybe it's because they go there often, the spirits react different to them too.
Right.
So you just never know.
But no, we've worked with 30, 40 different teams at this point,
Yeah.
and we've always had a great time.
In fact,
we did when we did the caverns last month, well, earlier this month, I think it was early February. We had 5 different teams there, and it was great because everybody brought in the tools they use, when they investigate, and we're sharing ideas. We're learning different equipment that you might have not known about before. And, then you go home and you order it because you really liked how that worked. And so it was really, really fun because everybody had something to bring, so everybody had something there a little bit different, but it all meshed together really well. So that was very cool. And everybody, the 12 of us from the different teams that were there just worked together perfectly. You would have thought we were one big team. And that's how it should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we've worked with a bunch of teams, and come to think of it, I don't even think I've ever even seen a disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether we've just been lucky enough to miss it, or maybe some of the stuff that's getting blown up on Facebook is exactly that. It's just stuff getting blown up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because we really have worked with 45 or 50 teams total, probably.
Yeah.
Pretty close to it.
And all over the country, so it's not like only in our backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that's how it's been in the last couple years. I know I've been doing this for 18 years, 19 years now, and in the beginning it was just so competitive, and nobody wanted to do anything side by side, and didn't want to learn from each other, and they'd steal, everyone wanted to steal things, locations from each other, or they told you can't go there because that's where we go all the time.
Right.
And then, in early days, trying to group these things together, sometimes there would be a team that would kind of like, stand back and like, we're going to do our own thing. And, but now it's a lot better. Maybe I'm just have the right mesh, of different groups up here now that are really anxious to help each other out. I think that's probably a lot of it too.
Well, it's just encouraging that that people can be tolerant and work with each other.
Right.
It's just encouraging that it can happen.
Yeah. And I don't remember if it was the last time I was on or not, but we did a all-girls event in November called a paranormal pajama party. And we booked the whole Hotel Van Dome in Prescott, Arizona, and we had the whole hotel to ourselves. We had 2 of the most haunted rooms open for, so everybody could investigate. And it was so much fun, having a group of ladies all together and investigating a big hotel like that. We brought in pizza, just like the old-fashioned slumber parties. We did, I think we taught them how to make different kinds of bath salts for luck and for love and for energy. So that was really kind of neat. They got a little craft thing they could take home with them, and they got to investigate as the night got later, and had the pizza, and everybody had a great time in the morning. It was really good. Everybody was up and doing again, sharing ideas, sharing equipment, and it was really fun. We're going to do that again one of these days, too.
No face eating bath salts then.
No. Not that kind of salt. It was actually for your bath.
Well, there was this one girl, but they haven't heard from her lately.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I know everyone's giving me a hard time about that. No, really, we're all older women. We're not going to be sniffing the bath salt. We're actually going to use it in the tubs. So.
Yeah, once we get to a certain age, we just want to soak in it.
We just want to soak in it, yeah.
That's all we want to do.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I do a workshop, I know it's just because I'm an old Girl Scout or whatever. I always feel like we have to do something to learn something while we're doing, the event. In the cave, what we did is I read about some other team had done this before, where they took, crystals, and when they were inside the cave, they all did like a ceremony to energize their crystal so that when they carry it on future ghost hunt, this crystal would be all energized for them. It's for protection and maybe to enhance the energy in a room. So that was kind of what we did in the cave as far as kind of a little exercise learning thing. So I always like to do something where they're actually, learning something old from the olden days to put with all the new stuff, the new way of ghost hunting as well. So,
well, that's where the cemetery cleanup from our Girl Scout days, because that's like rule number one. You leave a place cleaner than you walked into it.
Exactly. That's probably why.
Well, and if everybody did that, oh my goodness, what could we change?
I know, and it only takes a minute. When we've gone out to cemetery locations, I've had everybody a bag, and we've got the place picked up in 20 minutes, and and it's a better place, and the spirits are going to be more respond better because they know we're good people, and it always works. So it's something I always do too. It's nice to clean up a cemetery. It's a good feeling.
I know, poor Eric. Every time we go and I see something broken, Eric, fix it. That's 900 pounds. Are you crazy? I can't pick that. Just scoot it back.
I know. I rescued a tombstone. Was it 2 years ago? It was one of the ladies down at the cemetery where I volunteer was out antiquing, and she saw this old tombstone out in front of the antique store, and she questioned the man, and he's acting kind of funny, and he's like, oh well, yeah, that's the tombstone from my dead wife, ha 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 ha. And he goes, no, it was at the property when I bought it. Well, she wrote down the name, so she went and looked up, and she's like, well, that tombstone belongs in our cemetery. It's been gone. Someone stole it. There's a lot of tombstones missing in the cemetery because obviously, like I said, it was run down for many years. So my one friend and I jump in their PT Cruiser, and we decide we're going to go get that tombstone, right now. So we drive all the way up to Mayor, and we did this whole big sob story. We're like, it was my grandfather's tombstone, and we promised if we ever found it, we'd take it back to the cemetery. And this man's not buying this, and I'm like, okay, maybe we should call the sheriff. Why this tombstone's here? And so finally we give him $200, and of course we can't pick up this tombstone. It probably weighed, a ton. And we can't, let alone get it into a PT Cruiser.
Right.
So we dash home. The next day, then my boyfriend and I drive up with his truck and an engine hoist. And we had to actually lift this, tombstone like a motor into the back of the pickup truck, and then take it back down to Phoenix, and unload it, and put it on a dolly and wheel it into the cemetery. So that was my big tombstone run. I felt like Indiana Jones, going through all this stuff, loading the tombstone into the truck and everything. But it was really cool. It was kind of a really neat thing to do.
I can see her with the hat and the whip.
Right. But it's really cool.
I had like a little tam on that day. I was looking kind of funny.
It's really cool, though, to be able to go back and say, okay, here's your tombstone. We brought it back.
Yeah, like, look what I got. In the cemetery, people are like, well, we don't want to pay for that. Then one of the other volunteers says, go get a job. If they don't want to pay for it, I'll pay for it. I don't care. So I just happen to have, some cash on me. That's why we could only give him $200. I didn't have, because I grabbed what I had in the house and ran up there. And but it was really kind of neat because under our cemetery, this is kind of a cool thing, that old Pioneer Cemetery, there's actually a old prehistoric cemetery and prehistoric village underneath it. Mm-hmm. And so at the time when this was all going on, they were digging a new sewer line between the road that goes between the cemeteries, and they had it all dug up, and they were, doing excavating and pulling out pieces of pottery and everything. So when I got there with the tombstone, they were working that day on that Sunday, thank goodness. So I ran down there and I said, well, you guys, we want to do another little kind of a rescue thing with me. I need to help get this out of the pickup truck. So it was then it really felt like Indiana Jones, because I had these people that this was their job, doing history work and stuff like that. So it was really neat.
She called in the posse.
Mm-hmm.
I got the big guys out, so if they broke it, then I was like, okay, it's not my fault. But it was really neat. They got away from their dig a while just to kind of like rescue another thing, another piece of history. So
Right.
it was neat. It was a neat day.
That's very cool, though.
Well,
But that's what I do. I'm always running around. It's like I'm retired from the DMV, which we call MVD here, that's hence MVD Ghost Chasers. And I work harder now than I did when I actually worked. So
Yeah, but you have more fun at it now.
sometimes I get too much on my plate though. You know, it's like sometimes I play too many things in one day, and I'm like, oh my god, why did I say I would do that, or why did I say I would go there? So I'm always busy. I never have a weekend that's just like hang out and do nothing ever. So
And we blame men. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, it's pretty crazy, but it's fun. Meet a lot of fun people everywhere too. So
Well, unfortunately, we ran out of time a while ago, but
you're supposed to go. Okay, you gotta go now. Bye.
no. But for those who don't know and are interested, Debbie has written almost an entire library of books. Where can our viewers find you and or your books? Both?
Okay, well, you can find me on Facebook under Debe Branning, really easy. You can find me under MVD Ghost Chasers, and I write for Examiner.com for Arizona. I write Arizona haunted sites, and then I have a national column called Haunted Places. These are my books. I'll hold them up. This is the new one. It's probably glaring there. Huh?
I actually have that up on a graphic right now.
Okay. Graveyard Shift and Sleeping with Ghosts. You can get from me or American Travelers Press, and then the Grand Canyon Ghost Stories. They're that publisher's up in Montana, and they're Riverbend Publishing.
Are they available on
I
Amazon?
have books at my house, so if you just message me or Facebook me, you can get them right through me, and I sign them and then get them off to you the next day. So
Yeah,
sometimes,
baby.
it's easier that way. Of course, they're always on Amazon and everywhere else you can find your favorite books.
And when you go hunting for it, it's WDEBE, not DEBBIE or DEBBY.
Yeah, it's DEBE. Yeah, there was too many Debbies when I grew up, so I had to change it just because I'm different.
Oh,
And more than one.
but we like you different.
Well, I know it would be strange to be sane. I think I don't know.
I like four-letter names.
Yeah, it's yeah. So
Well,
it's just easier.
my real name is Eric, ERIC. My nickname is Yeti, YETI. I like four-letter names.
Sometimes you can be a real DORK.
Hey, well,
See?
I've been accused of being other four-letter words too, but we won't go into that. This is a family show.
Right.
Well, Debbie, we would like to thank you so very much. You are always such a delight, and we had comments going the whole time in the chat room about what a great storyteller you are and how they're really enjoying it. And we
I'm glad
always
they
enjoy it.
enjoyed. I love telling stories.
I love listening.
We know.
I know. And that's amazing because I'm a blabbermouth. But I'm narrow-shouldered.
Oh, stop.
The next time I come out, I'll have to tell you what happened on the cemetery crawl. That's going to be like April 6th. So if anybody wants to have a team, we still have openings for teams. You either have to have 3 people or 4 people, and it's only $30 a person to be on it. Get on a team. So it's really easy, and you just pay for your own gas in your motel room where we stayed over the night. So other than that, you win a wonderful bag of crap at the end.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you never know what kind of crap's going to be
You
in that
never
wonderful
know.
bag.
It's everybody like goes, oh, here's all the Halloween stuff I didn't want from last year. Here, Deb, give it out for your cemetery crawl.
It's the fun
It's
getting there.
It's
it
Halloween.
doesn't
It's
count what you win.
Fun.
It's basic-
just for fun, and then you have the bragging rights that you got first place. That's about it.
Absolutely.
So it's like Halloween regifting.
It's kind of Halloween regifting.
Okay.
That's it.
That works.
That works.
And what? I don't know what you want me to do.
Say thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for being with us tonight.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And with that subtle hint,
he just totally.
I didn't know what she wanted. Say goodnight, Mary.
Well, Debbie
Bye,
said
Debbie.
goodnight.
Bye, Debbie.
Thank you all for joining us. Next week we have
Laura Redmond, case manager, and for Ghost Head Soup. She also does a lot of work with PKC, which is Paranormal Kicks Cancer.
And tune in Monday. We have Marie Jones and Larry Flaxman.
And Patrick Doyle will be on Off the Wall, too.
See there? Oh, yeah, Patrick Doyle from Ghost Minds.
Ghost
We've
Minders.
got a great lineup. Tune in every night. We've always got something fun going on. And with that, we're getting out of here. Night all.
Be safe.